America is ending the threat posed by this radical regime, decimating Iran's capabilities with Operation Epic Fury, something that nobody's ever seen anything quite like it. We have the most powerful military in the world. In the meantime, the conflict in Iran also makes it absolutely vital for the radical left Democrats in Congress to immediately end their dangerous shutdown of our Department of Homeland Security. For 42 days, they've tried to completely eliminate funding for the number one duty of government, which is keeping America safe. They want to have our borders be open again. Over the past 14 months, the Trump administration has achieved perhaps the most dramatic one-year turnaround of any nation in all of history. Our country is prospering again. Our economy is booming again, and America is respected again all over the world, perhaps like never before. And in America, we don't fear the future, we invent the future.
Well, good evening on a Saturday evening. I told you guys, Ashley, her husband, the grandkids are all coming down for spring break, and I didn't plan on doing a show today. And I most assuredly did not plan on even talking about the No Kings thing. But I got a bunch of text and direct messages like, Barry, you got to talk about this. So I'm going to give you my opinion on it. So let me just warn you right now so that you can pray and gird your loins, because we have probably the entire first half of this show is going to be dedicated to a special presentation of the libtard zone, because that's all you can call it. That is all you can call it. Before I get into it, I want to show you President Trump down here at Mar-a-Lago did have something to say today, and he posted this. And it says, "It is time for the Senate filibuster to end. Those weak and ineffective Republican senators that stand in the way of this should be exposed to the public. The Democrats are crazy." I took that last part and said to myself, yeah, I mean, he literally just posted that at 6:18. I took that and said, yeah, I've got to show people the Democrats are completely bat poop crazy, beyond what we thought. So let me just show you something that a lot of people are talking about, and it's a little bit scary. I don't know what that is. I thought I'd kick off the show with you guys being able to look at one of the protesters today and try to figure out exactly what it is you're looking at. I am not trying to get myself in trouble with the YouTube gods. I just can't. I have no idea what the hell that is. I don't know. Not only do I not know what it is, I don't know the statement it's making. Did they want to play football? Did they get cut from football because they weren't supposed to be there? Is he still wearing the uniform from high school, from, the underwear lingerie football league? Did the helmet mesh with its head? I can't tell you. But what I can tell you, it all goes downhill from there. That's what these people represented today. That and the fact that it was a walking, talking Golden Girls commercial, devoid of color. They're supposedly DEI. I ain't seen no black people. Saw very, very few brown people, as they say. Didn't see any yellow people. This was a farce, an absolute farce. And we're going to jump right into it because, like I said, it's an extended version of the libtard zone, and we're going to have to talk about that. First, let me tell you about tonight's sponsor of tonight's show, and that would be the necklace here, the In God We Trust necklace. I think we can all agree that lately everything going on in the world, and specifically in our country, just feels loud and crazy all the time. And everyone wants you to pull you into this noise. I even tried to stay away from it myself today. It's important to stay grounded and focus on the things that help counter that. And I have something simple and meaningful that does exactly that. It's this sterling silver cross necklace. And on its box are the words that have guided our country for generations and hopefully for continued generations. and that being in God we trust. For me personally, pieces like this are a quiet reminder to slow down and ignore the craziness. Even though you see it, just sit back and go, ignore it. Don't react. Don't respond. Please respond with patience instead of frustration. Choose faith over fear. And remember that real strength comes from trusting His plan, not forcing outcomes. A lot of us feel it right now. We need to pull back to our core values of faith, country, family, the same values many Americans rally around when they feel the nation drifting as it is now. And the same reason so many still stand in firm support of President Trump today. But this isn't about shouting politics or making a spectacle. It's not about yard signs or slogans. It's about keeping your faith strong, especially when the world feels like it's getting crazier by the day. And it is. Because at the end of the day, there can only be one side worth standing on, and that's God's side. Sometimes smaller symbols carry the greatest weight. If this resonates with you, I put the link in the description below. That link is themagaoffers.com/Barry Cross. You'll get 50% off your sterling silver cross using that link, and it's a meaningful piece you can wear daily or give to someone who'd appreciate the reminder. Again, that link is themagaoffers.com/Barry Cross for 50% off while supplies last. Or if you'd prefer, you can call in to explore even more deals at 855-550-6242, but be sure to use the promo code Barry Cross. All right, gird your loins, we're going in.
One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
No man should ever enter where we are going. Beware what lurks in the depths of the libtard zone.
It's white sheets in the White House. Everybody scream and shout. White sheets in the White House. Time to drive them white sheets out. keep getting tax cuts while we foot the bill. Oh, can't you see? None of us are free. No, no, till all of us are free. None of us are free. No, till all of us are free.
Okay, hold on. None of us are free until all of us are free. And she's standing on a stage in the open air public, protesting a king that doesn't exist, worried about not being free. Everything you're going to see as we move forward is just, it won't make any sense. How can you not be free, but you're standing on a stage singing anti-Trump or anti-democracy songs because for some reason you think you're not free, and you're black, and you're a woman, and nobody's stopping you from saying what you're saying. So please, with all due respect, tell us all how the hell you're not free. And to the guy beforehand, talk about how the tax breaks were. We'd love to see your tax return, sir. I venture to say most of the people you're going to see, most, aren't your taxpayer types. But, you know, let's just continue into the freedom here.
Now you say it with us. None of us are free. Oh, till all of us are free. One more time, yeah.
One more time to all the people standing out in the free area where they are. Are you free? Yeah, I'm free. You came here freely, right? Yeah. Who the hell are you singing for? Criminals? Tell us, because I'm looking at a pretty good sized crowd. I'm going to talk to you about the crowds later. But they all seem to be free to move about the country and do what they want. So none of us are free until all of us are free. Who are the all that they're talking about?
None of us are free. Till all of us are free.
Do you think MAGA is dead?
No.
Absolutely not. No? Do you guys, do you think MAGA is dead? Are you done?
No.
No. Do you think MAGA is dead?
No.
MAGA's definitely not dead. That's probably the biggest joke that I've heard.
Do you think MAGA's dead? I would venture to say most, if not all of you in the chat tonight. SV's not here because he's got a pickleball tournament. So if there might be some extra trolls in here tonight, I might expect. I hope the other, Severo and Beth and Roaring Rage can keep it down to a little bit of a low hanging fruit. Chop them trolls. But we're MAGA strong. We haven't not turned away. Don't feel he's a king, but we don't have any qualms about where MAGA is right now.
Heard online that MAGA is dead.
That's bullshit. Bullshit.
So MAGA is not dead.
No. All the way. We're there.
Is MAGA dead?
Absolutely not.
Not in the least. Not at all.
Would you say you are fully still behind Donald Trump?
Absolutely.
So you guys are still with Trump?
Oh, 100%, for sure. Go Trump, go Trump.
I know a lot of Trump supporters.
We're asking Trump supporters if they are still with Trump.
Yes.
Yes? Yes. Have you regretted your vote for Donald Trump?
No, ma'am. No, absolutely not.
Are you someone who voted for him that is leaving him and withdrawing support?
On Trump? No, I'm not leaving.
You got to be careful what you listen to be honest, because there's a lot of lies out there.
What he said. You got to be careful out there because there are a lot of liars out there. Let's get away from the libtards for a second and go to the right-tards. I did that in the wrong direction. Hopefully it looked the same on your screen. I saw something today that just made me just think to myself, what the hell are we doing here? What is going on? How are these people in just so completely crazy? Even the people on our side don't seem to understand what the heck they're doing. Let me see if I can find this, because it was early this morning and I saw, once again, Megyn Kelly and Mark Levin going at it all over again. And the part that I don't understand is Mark Levin writer, constitutional attorney, has done many good things in his past. Megyn Kelly, despite what you think of her, accomplished broadcaster, Fox host, and they're talking like two kids in sophomores in high school. Is this an act, or are people truly gone bat poop crazy? When I saw this, I went truly sad. You gotta grow up. And so Mark Levin basically came out, Mary Narwhal said, the civil war within MAGA is reaching new levels, low levels. Megyn Kelly said, look at micro. She's talking about him being a micro penis. So drunk on his teeny tiny temporary power, he wants the VP out for the sin of challenging Netanyahu. And Mark Levin responds, look at Deep Throat. Oh, the stories I hear, filthy mouth. Isn't that the kind of stuff you used to hear when you were in high school? And you talk in the lockers with your boys and go, yeah, she does this. And I don't know how the girls talk because I wasn't there, but they may have said micro weenies or something like that. But we're talking about two established professionals that have reduced themselves in public to be no better than any libtard. That is insane. Mark is an author. He has had books. He's had television appearances. He's known as the Great One and all these things. And I'm seeing this kind of volley going back and forth where they look like absolute morons. And don't think that millions of people don't see it and go, what are they doing? I mean, even Mario, who's got millions of followers, it says, Megan, I heard you have a small wee-wee. Mark, I heard you give amazing BJs. I'm like, what is going on? I know right now that anti-Israel stuff really sells. And it really sells to the point where you get tons of clicks because so many people hate Israel. And I see what Elon and his team are doing at X, trying to get the people who aren't from this country out of X, or at least out of involving themselves in U.S. politics and the different restrictions he's putting on. But at the same time, I see these people volleying for control and actually enjoying the fact that they look like retards, excuse my language, and are making money from it. Both of them have blue checks. Both of them are profiting. Both of them should know better. They deserve today to be right here smack dab in the middle of the libtard zone. We don't need this moving forward. Don't need it at all.
What do you think? Do you still support him?
Yes.
100%?
Yeah, definitely.
God puts the leaders in position. Nothing happens in this world without his permission.
CNN said that they had 100%.
And then you see on CNN the other day it was 100% MAGA for Trump.
You're still with him?
100%. And probably if he could run again, I would do it again.
You heard it here, guys. MAGA is not dead at all.
Meanwhile,
Told you, we're going into the libtard zone. It's really bad. Crazy, crazy, crazy. You know, tonight being Saturday, March 28th, 2026, and probably somewhere right outside your windows. If you live anywhere near a Blue City hellhole, you can probably hear the chanting already. Whatever the heck she just did. That chanting is coming from a No Kings protest. I guess in certain parts of the country it's already dark, so now they're out in LA doing their thing. And it's not one protest, it's thousands of protests. You see, they know they can't get people to come to these things, so they said, listen, instead of having a few where the numbers don't look good on television, let's have thousands of protests, 3,000-4,000 of them all across the country. But you have to have the knowledge to look deeper, to realize these people are full of crap. Ergo, shall I show you? People did some digging today, even here in South Florida. This is what they did to make it appear like, oh my God, there's people everywhere. Well, there were people everywhere, but they were the same damn people. Here's how communist PR deception works. They have two protests minutes away from each other, but one protest starts 2.5 hours after the other one ends. The media is an ally, so they will report massive attendance at both without admitting it's the same people. For instance, he pulled this, and it said, no Kings protest in Cary, North Carolina. If you've never been there, it is quite adjacent to Apex, North Carolina. And what they did is they staggered it so that the people who were in Apex at 9:30 in the morning could drive 10 minutes and be at the one in Cary. And of course, you get the great, even Fox News, mass mobilizations, no Kings, blah, 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 set to hold thousands of blah, 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 but they don't report that. They're doing the same protests with the same people in places literally minutes apart. And I commend this guy because he went all in and found all of this. There were so many of them that they were happening. Here's another one. Example. And if these are near you, you will know how the distance. This one here, here's another one. One protest in Pittsboro, another in Chapel Hill, which is 20 minutes away. It's the same people. No Kings Pittsboro at 11 to 12:30, and then another one in Orange County at 3:45 to 6. They timed them perfectly so that not you, but they could move people around so that they're like, well, there's like 1,000 people here. Ooh, there's 1,000 people here. And they didn't watch that the same people were in the same protest. He went on. Here's another one. Lake Norman ends at 11:30. Mooresville starts at 2, right down the road. No Kings, 10 a.m. No Kings, Mooresville, 2 p.m. He's got another one. Here's Pawleys Island. So if you've never, I met Robin in Murrells Inlet, which is not too far away from Pawleys Island. It is probably the most tony little village right by the inlet there. It's beautiful. It's not someplace where you'd see a lot of people protesting. Very affluent area, and it's just not known for that. So here we are. They're in Pawleys Island at 10. Then they got a cutoff at noon, and then they're at 3 o'clock. They're in Georgetown, right down the road. As people began reading this, they started posting it themselves. It's happening all over town, all over wherever they lived. Maybe you in the chat can wait a second. I can vouch for it. They supposedly had one here in Boca. And then they had another one in Delray, literally 15 minutes away. So all the old people get back on the bus, do whatever they need to do, and then hossy their butts over to where they're having the next protest. Just like the good commies they are. This happens and is continuing to happen. Now, right now they're on the West Coast, but it continued to happen all day, coast to coast. Millions of people, they'll tell you, millions, taken to the street to declare that America has no kings. Millions of people taken to the street to protest something we don't have. Make it make sense. Meanwhile, I even saw people protesting in England. They had a no kings protest in England. Did that set in yet? Did you let that set in yet? A no kings protest in England. Did nobody tell them? Why is it these people are protesting a democratically elected president? Meanwhile, they've got all kinds of signs and everything, but nobody's talking about the Ayatollahs that run Iran. No words. And then, of course, then the drive-by media is having collective orgasm about the whole thing. Oh, it's so big. Everything's doing so great. And CNN's probably got a split screen going when Bruce Springsteen was on stage in Minnesota, and then there's some other celebrity in New York. All of them, Donald Trump is turning the White House into a throne room. That's what they want you to believe. Donald Trump has turned this thing into his own personal kingdom. Never mind, I also saw a video which is very, very prudent. It was a video that showed Chuck Schumer being in office for 30 or 40 years, Bernie being in office for 30 or 40 years, Nancy being in office for 30, 40 years, Dick Durbin being in office for 30 or 40 years. President Trump's been in office 5 years. 5 years for the guy they want to call a king, but 30 and 40 and 50 for these other people. They're saying that President Trump is a king as they idolize on stage the same people who have been in office for 30, 40, and 50 years. Make that make sense.
There's too much fear. Stop your gun. Stop your fighting.
I told you it's going to get bad. I don't even know what that was. Don't know who it was. Don't know if it was a woman. Don't know if it's a man. I guess they can't define what a woman is. So whatever it was, not making any sense. I know some of you guys are sitting there going, oh no. Yep, this is how it was. In case you didn't see, this is what they were doing across the country. Now let me ask you something. I really want to know this. And I want you to think hard about this in a clear thinking American way. What in the wide world of sports is this even about? Anybody know? Doesn't make it, even the name makes no sense. No kings. Yeah, okay, I agree with that. We don't have a king. There's no monarchy here. What's your point? I don't know. These people are professional protesters, and they're funded by Soros. Not the word I'm supposed to say too often. Can get in big trouble for even mentioning his name. And besides him, it's from Hollywood has-beens and college kids who couldn't find their way out of a wet paper bag unless they were bagging in your Starbucks in the morning, are out there screaming no kings at a president who was elected fair and square by 74 million, 77 million Americans. Does that mean that we were stupid? Does it mean that we were the ones who installed the king? And right now, if the polls, whatever polls there are any indication, even more so are going to vote for him a second time. He was elected. He was not installed. He was elected by you and by me and the American people. He wasn't appointed by some deep state council. He didn't have a bunch of senators that got together and decided this was going to be the king. He wasn't crowned in any ceremony with a scepter. He was elected twice, 3 times. I'm going to say 3 times. That's, I think, is why they're freaking out. And here they are, 8 months before the 2026 midterms, and they're pretending, because you have to understand, this is complete cosplay. They're pretending that the duly chosen leader of the free world is some kind of king, a monarch who must be toppled by... Because all day, I kept hearing, he must be stopped. Okay, what's your plan? What exactly are you trying to do by telling millions of people he must be stopped, he must be toppled, he must be thrown out of office? So what's your plan? How are you going to do that? Please tell us how you're going to do that. You're going to march around with signs and block traffic and put on funky football faces or something? I don't know what you plan on doing.
So what brings you out today?
No King's Day.
And why specifically are you out supporting No King's Day?
I think protest is important.
Why are you protesting?
How much time do you have?
A couple minutes. And what's the main reason you're out here protesting President Trump?
I don't agree with a lot of the decisions that are being made.
Is there any decision in particular you disagree with?
Okay, so I would start with, well, I don't even think it's appropriate for me to have this interview.
Hey, honey, you already had it. I'm not sure if you realize that you're on film and it's being spread across the internet. You already had the interview. Oh boy, I don't think it's appropriate. No, it's not. What's not appropriate is you being out in the street without having any clue what the hell you're talking about. Remember, you're protesting a king, and somehow this king is so inept, he's allowing all of you to run around and do stupid stuff. Man, that's one crappy king. That's the opposite of fascism, isn't it? Nobody's dragging you out of your bed and putting two in the back of your head. You know, a king, a monarch, a dictator would do something like that. How do you justify that? How do you say to yourself, I don't want a king like Trump, but at the same time, say whatever you want against the government? Doesn't that by its very nature tell you that you got your mind mixed up? And that's not alone. There was a reason why I didn't go down and film it today, because that's the exact thing I had when I interviewed them the last time. So what are you here for? Huh? Sunny outside? Ira, get some water. It's hot out here. She said that. And I remember the guy, and I said, you look retired. Oh, that's an insult. All right, you look like you could be retired. How's your 401k doing? Well, it's doing it. And he actually answered correctly. It's doing pretty good. Why are you out here? They can't answer. They get mad. They'll scream. They sometimes they'll get violent because they can't answer it. When if you're calm and you just say to them, well, tell me what it is that you have a problem with. Like he did. Exactly. Don't just tell me you have a problem with Trump. What exactly do you have a problem with? I don't know. That's when the absurdity, when they take on the complete realm and put the cloak on of absurdity and say, absurdity, thy name is absurdity. That is the modern American left. When you can't explain what the hell you're doing, something's wrong. It's pure unadulterated absurdity. And I'm going to show you it's also futility. Hey, let me show you something that happened with me today, me personally. I posted this. I said, wait until the No Kings protesters wake up tomorrow and realize Donald Trump is still their president. The millions of you that ran around today in the hot sun, depending on where you are, who carried every kind of sign and then took your butts home, tomorrow when you wake up, or not even tomorrow, tonight when you sit down, that was a tough rally. He's still your president. Meaning, nothing you did today changes anything. Nothing. So what was the purpose? Because I don't personally like to do things unless there's a purpose behind it. I don't think you guys like to do stuff that doesn't have some sort of value to it. Well, we were out there just telling everybody what for and no kings. Well, we already don't have a king. So if you wanted no kings and you had a rally for that and your objective was to not have a king, I guess that's success because we still don't have one. But this is indicative, right? I'm going to show you something. This is indicative of what the problem is. On that same post, this guy says, wait until you wake up and realize he couldn't care less about you. And that's when I realized they are mired in their own futility and they have no way out. Because the answer to this is probably something you guys all think. And I just said to him, you see, that's the difference. I don't need a president to take care of me. I just need the government to get out of my way. And I just put up a meme. There's a huge difference. And when I posted that, he didn't come back with any response. Hopefully it made him think for a second. You're in here in that comment section complaining about he doesn't care about you people. And then me and probably a couple other people were pretty much saying to him, we don't need him to care about us. We need a president to care about the country and plow the field so the rest of us can prosper. I didn't want to embarrass him with a line from a Democrat president, because I know now that people out there today would never elect John F. Kennedy. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask not that you want your president to, quote, take care of you and like you. That's what they want. As soon as I've read that, I'm like, that's it. Oh, Trump's not going to take care of you. I'm sorry. I didn't know I was asking for that. That's what you guys want. You guys cannot live and exist under the mantra of the time-fabled slogan of arguably the most favorite Democrat president ever, who said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And that's got to be like sacrilege to the absurd left. You should ask people that. Hey, you ever heard this slogan before? You ever heard this? Ask not what your country can do to you, for you, but what you can do for your country. And see these people recoil. They don't get it. They think for them that a president should be taking care of you. He should like you. I may never meet President Trump, so he doesn't know me. And in that regards, I don't really care if he likes me. Just open the path. That's all I need for a president. I don't know what you need. You may say, just make sure my Social Security keeps coming. Make sure my taxes get lower. Make sure gas prices are stable. Make sure food prices are stable. Make sure you protect us. In that line, I don't think there's any answer where any of you would ever say, I need you to like me. That was the most stupid thing I've ever seen, but that's how they feel. That's specifically how they feel. I've heard that more than once. He doesn't even care about you. I thought to myself, I don't need him to care about me. I need him to care about the country. And that difference, that chasm, these people can't leap over. That's why it's an effort in futility, everything they do. I don't know what that was. The futility of it all is what's going to have these people losing their mind. It should have you laughing into your coffee by the end of this show. Because these protests, today's big show, the third round of No Kings or whatever they're calling it, I call it the latest temper tantrum. And they're not going to move a single vote come the midterm. Nobody is changing their vote at all because of these No King protests. Not one. Not a single solitary independent voter in Pennsylvania, not a soccer mom in Ohio, not a union guy in Michigan are waking up tomorrow and going, you know what? My pension, which depends on energy independence and not Green New Deals, is doing better with President Trump. These protests are the political equivalent of a toddler throwing his toys out of the crib because mommy took away his iPad. They're loud, they're messy, and they're ultimately meaningless.
It is so incredible to be here with you all as you show the country just how courageous and dedicated and resistant we are.
To what? What are you courageous and committed to? I don't know. Please tell me. Courageous? What? I could use a lot of words about the libtards. Courageous in one of them. Unhinged, banshee screaming, loser. Courageous definitely isn't one of them.
In the United States of America, we pledge allegiance to the Constitution and the flag, not to a person or a king.
Do they know what you just said? You just said on a stage full of commies that you don't pledge allegiance to a person, but you pledge allegiance to the flag. You mean the same ones that the Antifa types out there in their ridiculous outfits end up burning? Oh, man. I'm sure there are a few people in the audience. Yeah, power to the... I don't pledge allegiance to that flag. No, I don't pledge allegiance. That's just it. I guess many of the people in the audience don't know what the hell allegiance even means.
I came to this country as a refugee. To me, America was a beacon of hope. A place where freedom wasn't just a word, but it was a promise. I arrived here when I was 12 years old. I could have never imagined the day would come when we were staring down at this kind of creeping authoritarianism in the United States of America.
Okay, so if anybody knows what authoritarianism is, it would be her. Because the warlords and stuff in Somalia that grab people at night, do vile things to them, chop off their heads. Anybody saying that happened here? I mean, I'm just wondering, anybody seeing the very thing she supposedly escaped from happening here? No. Anybody see people regularly marrying their brother here? No. Because most places that are authoritarianist, dictatorless type places would probably throw you off a building. But, now she could say, it's different here.
But we are here because Donald Trump just has not chipped away at our democracy. He has taken a wrecking ball to the very foundation of what makes America great. He has tried to intimidate Minnesotans. He has tried to make us afraid. He has tried to divide us.
If any of that was true, how the hell could you be on stage smiling with some sort of curtain on your head and feeling completely open and free to say whatever you want about Donald Trump? If he was the authoritarian you say he is, there would be guys on the side of the stage dragging your Somali ass off and whooping you. The contrast of absurdity is beyond these people. They're all sitting in the audience going, yeah, yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, do you not understand what dictators and authoritarians have done? Do you not know your history? She should. She should be saying, I come from a town in Somalia where they would mutilate kids and chop off women's thing and beat men and bury them alive, and you've seen it. You escape here to a country that allows you to stand on a stage, and as you spew your absurdity, you expect everybody else in the audience just to nod along. I mean, it's insane. It literally is insane. I mean, you can actually look at this and say, you know what, I'm going to break this down. First, you have the absurdity. These folks are out there waving signs that say no kings in America, while the guy they're protesting has spent the last year and a half actually delivering on everything just about that he's promised. The borders, secure. Inflation, coming down. Energy, pouring out of the ground once again. And yes, even that situation in Iran, he's handling it in a way a strong president handles it. Not the way Joe Biden handled it. Not the way that Obama handled it, sending over billions of dollars in cash. Their idea was basically, let's give Iran your lunch money and hope they like us. Just like that guy said, they don't like you. Everything about them is they need to like you. But no, to these protesters, enforcing the law, protecting American interests, and telling the world we're not going to be pushed around, that's kingly. She was one of the people who did not stand up at the State of the Union. She said, I am not here to protect you. Don't ever let anybody forget that, especially going into the midterms. Everybody going into the midterms should 100% let everybody know every single day leading up to the midterms, they don't care about you. And not in the way of like, I want them to send me a teddy bear. I'm talking about protecting the country.
But we stood strong. We have had each other's back, and we have never bent the knee. Because in Minnesota, we are built different. We do not cower to bullies. We are Minnesota strong.
It's hard sometimes to even imagine what these people are saying and how they're saying it. You know what's really kingly? The way the previous administration with Kamala and Joe spent 4 years pretending the border didn't exist, while actual cities like in Minnesota turned into flipping war zones. That's kingly. Or the way they weaponized the DOJ against parents at school board meetings. Or the way they try to and will again, if they get the chance, pack the Supreme Court. How about changing the rules of the Senate? It is absurd what these people say, but that wasn't kingly. None of that it has anything to do with kings. We didn't see a single no kings protest then. Of course not. Because when their guy or girl, well, I shouldn't say girl, whatever it would be, the he, she, they be, because when their they be is in the chair, it's not authoritarianism, it's democracy. How often have you heard these people mention the word republic? When our guy is in the chair, somehow it's a coup. And that's exactly what they're calling it right now. They think that President Trump wasn't elected and that this was nothing more than a coup. Be right back after this message. If you bought some gold and silver, don't freak out. You can see how things are changing by the day. They're trying everything they can do to suppress the market. Not sure if you saw what's been going on with oil lately, but it hit 1.8, went straight down. You're seeing the stock market go up and down all over the place. Breathe. Just like what I just told you about Palm Beach County. Chill. Do your homework. Look. Don't listen to them because they're all going to scream at you and tell you bloody murder is great. It's horrible. The days of excessive money printing, overvalued markets, and global unrest are finally catching up to the elite. Instead of pulling back, now is the time to do your research. Keep your eyes open to trends and get some information from my friends at Lear Capital. Experts are still predicting $6,000 gold and $150 to $200 silver. Everything you're seeing is being driven by geopolitical uncertainty, inflation concerns, and a perceived weakening U.S. dollar. Is it time for you to buy some gold or silver? Well, that's a decision you're going to have to make. Nobody else is going to be able to make it for you. But if you call Lear Capital, they'll help you by getting the most accurate information you need, timely information to make an informed decision. Call the best in the business and the company Rob and I personally trust, and that's Lear Capital. It's a free call, no obligation to purchase, just education and information on protecting and growing your wealth with gold and silver. I'm sure there are many of you that have called and haven't purchased yet for whatever reason. And now even the panicans are trying to attack people with gold. I know what this thing was when I first started talking about it, and I know this is now worth close to $1,000 or more. They'll even walk you through shifting some of your money sitting in a retirement account over to physical gold and silver. It's easy to do. I've been extremely satisfied with Lear's knowledge, service, and prices, and many of you have as well. I urge you to call today and learn more. 800-601-5430, 800-601-5430, or go to learberry.com to learn more. All right, so we're talking about their hypocrisy and the ability to get so many people to follow this crap. You know, there was one estimate I saw today that said, without having any verification whatsoever, that 9 million people were going to be protesting today. But it didn't say 9 million unique people. So somebody is taking numbers and basically associating them across the media and say, oh, there's 9 million people. I want you to check this out because this was pretty interesting from Right Angle News Network. Breaking: numerous Democrat and foreign accounts have been caught posting old Chicago protest footage to make the No Kings protest look bigger than it was, despite low turnout in reality. And here's your favorite guy, the Krasenstein brother, and this is from Harry Sisson. I can't see who that one is here in the bottom right. But they're doing everything right now. The hypocrisy of, they always say President Trump says his numbers are bigger than they are. They've got entire teams that are out there right now trying to inflate this and look like it's bigger than it is. And so they can say 9 million people were at the rally. But the problem with that is, and I had written something earlier, I was like, let me rewind that for you. Let me give you the real number. What you're telling me is 300 million people went about their own lives today. You know, if the country has 320, 310 million people, and you got 9 million people across the whole country, that means 300 million other people found something else better to do than go to one of your crazy rallies. That's how we have to come back at them. We don't know if it's 9 million unique or 9 million duplicate or triplicate numbers, but we do know that most people were living their lives. Robin and I went out today. We went down to the beach. We went shopping. We did a couple of different things. We hung out by the pool. Our neighbors were there. Ain't nobody I know. There was nobody I saw going to a No Kings rally. Not with so much to do down here. You guys can find out yourself. How many people do you know went to a No Kings rally and spent 2 hours or whatever, and then they go to the next one? Yeah, there's certain cities. I expect Los Angeles to have a huge one. I expect Chicago. That's why I'm telling you, it's not moving the needle because it's already in those cities. They tried to make it seem as though it was going to affect other cities. Oh, it's going to be all over the country. No, it's not true. It's hypocrisy. It's extreme hypocrisy. It's not even like a little bit hypocrisy. The hypocrisy that makes it, thicker than the fog on the San Francisco Bay. They're protesting executive overreach while cheering on every single time a Democrat president used executive orders like they were magic wands. In fact, he said that. Remember when he said it? Now, I'm not even talking about the time Obama said, what's Trump going to do? What's he got, a magic wand? I'm talking about an exact quote that he said. And he said, if Congress won't act, I will. Go look it up. His exact words. It's fantastic. Fantastic. He's not gonna let these people get in his way. It's okay. We bestow king powers on you, Obama. King Barack, please do whatever you need to do. Sign DACA and let all these people in. And the media's like, oh, look at him. He's so articulate, black. He's going to sign DACA and let all these people in. Biden, with a stroke of the auto pen, signing student loan forgiveness that the Supreme Court had to smack down twice. But Trump is the authoritarian. Trump is the king. Suddenly we got to have massive protests and a No King's Day 3 times. They've had these. Because he's the problem. Give me a break, give you a break. These people don't hate kings whatsoever. They hate kings who don't wear their colors, who don't wear their robes. They hate a president who puts America first instead of putting on the globalist grift. That's what they're having a problem with, and they don't even know. They're nothing but pawns in this game, and they're willing pawns. Here, let me show you this. This is from Gina Milan. She went and tracked all this. Top funders of the No Kings protest: George Soros, the Open Society Foundations, Tide Foundation, Arabella, the Ford Foundation, not to be confused with Ford Motors. That's completely different. I know a lot of people in here were wondering before whether it was Ford Motors. It's not Ford Motors. It's the Ford Foundation. The Rockefeller Brothers Fund. Soros dumped $197 million and backs 3 of the 5 main groups. But fight Elon Musk. Fight the oligarchy. Not that oligarchy. That's our oligarchy. That's our guy. And that other dude from China that keeps sending them big checks. And this is the top funders behind the No Kings protest. And if you look closely, it says Soros, 72 million, Arabella, 79, Ford Foundation, 51, Tice Foundation, which is still Soros, 45, Rockefellers, 28 million. Funny how the commies hate capitalism, except for the capitalism that funds their communist rallies. I'm telling you, the hypocrisy is insane. Oh, we need to have communism. Yeah, oligarchs. But these guys are cutting them checks. This is the stuff the media probably won't show you. It's mind-boggling. When I was putting this show together, one of the things I'm like, I want to go deep on this and show you guys some things that you probably won't be hearing. All the inserts of the videos, that's just crazy stuff. The other stuff is what you need to be armed with talking to people. And the funniest part about this, they call Trump a king while they're being funded by a network of 500 organizations. Understand this. 500 separate organizations, many of them which are straight up socialist and communist outfits with billions in dark money, is sloshing around from people who wouldn't know the Constitution if it bit them in their rear end. Make that make sense. You're taking nearly $1 billion from people and then complaining about capitalism and everything President Trump is doing, yet you're taking the money from people who are capitalists, but that's okay. Soros' fingerprints are all over this. If you haven't heard the name, go ahead and Google this name, Neville Roy Singham. Not the gingham guy, Neville Roy Singham. He's the guy living in China right now who's bankrolling many of these Maoist revolutionaries, especially Code Pink, the Party for Socialism and Liberation. That's the SLA, Socialists of America, actual communists. And they're marching in American streets calling for a revolution. A revolution against what? Nobody can answer that. You're going to hear some more of this stuff here. And they're calling for a revolution. What happens if you get the revolution? Are you prepared? I hope you guys are getting prepared. I know we're getting prepared for this revolution. What are you going to do? This is what they want. They want to overturn the country. They don't want to coexist. And they're doing it all against the guy who won the election, and they probably have some help from people like John Thune and Rand Paul. This isn't a protest. It's beyond sore loserism. It has baked in an overthrow of the government with a side of, crazy absurdity, hypocrisy, and a sprinkling sedition all over the place.
Anyone who might be here, perhaps out of uniform and unmasked, from the Gestapo.
Woo! What's the Gestapo? I don't know. Just cheer. What are you talking about? And by the way, I didn't recognize this guy. I had to go back and who is this dude? Those of you who are older, like my age or older, remember the show MASH with Alan Alda, and he was Hawkeye? And I forget this guy's character name, but he was Hawkeye's sidekick. And somehow they dug him up, propped him up, and gave him a microphone, and he's been sitting for, I don't know, decades waiting for the revolution. And these people out there, who is this old guy? I don't know. What was his name? Anybody know in the chat what was his name? No, it wasn't Hogan's Heroes. It was MASH. What was his name? I forget. I'm gonna look. You guys listen. Tell me what his name was.
Also known as ICE or the Border Patrol, also known as brutes with guns, who might be here spying, looking for decent human beings who are unacceptable to them, who are different. Suspect people because they might be deemed to be potentially illegal because their skin is not satisfactorily white or they speak an accented English.
Okay, hold on a second. If I really believed what I was saying to these people, and so ICE is doing bad things to people who aren't white, and I'm reading this, again, I'm questioning the government, and this authoritarian government, they're not really good at what they do. The Gestapo that these people are, they must not be that good. They must be really bad Gestapo agents. I'm reading this crap off of a page because I don't even know why I'm here. I couldn't just put it down and say, I hate ICE or whatever. No, I got to read my script here. Remember, I'm an actor. You're not. Don't try this at home. So as I continue to read my script about the Gestapo, do the people in the audience not know if there was true Gestapo, what would be happening right about now? Are they so crazy? Trapper? No, it wasn't Trapper. He was the guy who took Trapper's place. Trapper John was the brown-haired guy. This was the guy that came in after. Somebody goes, his character name was Asshat. But exactly. Asshat, we could call him Asshat. And he's up here talking about this stuff, having to read about the Gestapo. And meanwhile, there's no Gestapo near the stage ready to rip him off.
They may also be looking for anyone they decide might be a domestic terrorist, because that person may speak words that suggest opposition to the Trump agenda. If you're here in opposition to the Trump agenda, and if that defines you as being domestic terrorist, then you need look no further. I'm standing right here.
Hold on. Where are the black people at? What happened to diversity, equity, inclusion? There's no black people. Most of these people are still watching MASH. I liked MASH. BJ Honeycutt, that was his name. Mike Farrow is the actor's name. Mike Farrow. Again, look at the crowd. Crazy.
I was born in South St. Paul.
Absolutely nuts. It's crazy that their mere existence is futile. The part that's going on right now and continues, every single one of you MAGA warriors feeling pretty darn good about the next 8 months. If this is what you're going up against, you should feel really good about the next 8 months. These protests are supposed to be the big giant momentum builder for the 2026 midterms. And the left is already salivating in their New York Times columns about how the No Kings protest is going to flip the House, flip the Senate, and hand them the gallows so they can impeach Trump again for breathing. Well, I've got news. I want to tell you, history is not on their side. Remember the Women's March in 2017? Biggest thing ever. Me Too movement, all that stuff they said. Record turnout, celebrities galore. Madonna wanted to blow up the White House. 2 years later, in 2018, Republicans gained seats in the Senate. Here's one that was dear to my heart. You remember Occupy Wall Street? We are the 99% until all the people that were in the 99% became in the 1%. There are pictures today of Bernie Sanders flying first class. There are pictures today of AOC flying first class. There's pictures all over the airport of people from Congress getting escorted so they don't have to stand in line. So much for, we are the 99%. No, you're gladly in the 1%. Remember the people from Occupy Wall Street? They camped out for months. I remember going, what in the hell are they doing? And then what happened? Well, the Tea Party, an actual grassroots Americans organization, showed up at the polls and cleaned house in 2010 and 2014, which is why they had to get rid of the Tea Party. The left's big protests, the commies' big protests are like fireworks. They're bright, loud, and then they're gone in a flash, and they leave a mess that the rest of us have to clean up.
Whitman told us that this is still America. And this reactionary nightmare and these invasions of American cities will not stand. You gave us hope, you gave us courage, and for those who gave their lives, Renee Good, mother of 3, brutally murdered, Alex Preddy.
By the way, again, he's reading. That heartfelt sentiment that he has about everything he sees going on. He can't hold his eyes and go, I wish that these people who were died in the struggle in Minneapolis, they don't let their names. He can't do it. You're a songwriter. You sing for hours. You know every word to every song, every note, but you can't remember a 45-second speech.
VA nurse executed by ICE, shot in the back and left to die in the street without even the decency of our lawless government investigating their deaths. Their bravery, their sacrifice, and their names will not be forgotten. Well, through the winter's ice and cold.
You don't know how much it pains me to know that Bruce Springsteen has become a complete panty waste of a human being. I grew up going to my prep school, and everybody I knew is like, Born to Run, Thunder Road, yeah, Jungle Land. Oh, we loved every single song. We drove down to Asbury Park in New Jersey. We saw him so many times at the State Theater or Capitol Theater. It was phenomenal. We got to see Bruce and Stevie Van Sant, Little Stevie. It was incredible. One time, in Hartford, Connecticut, he played in Hartford, Connecticut. My buddies and I got a hotel room, and I got on the elevator, and Bruce Springsteen got on. And I was like, oh my gosh, don't look. Bruce is there. Don't look. Don't look stupid. But it's chill. It's Bruce. He's okay. How you doing? That's all I can say. I was a huge Springsteen fan. I think I probably saw he and his band play probably 15 to 20 times. Literally 15 to 20 times, if not more. Some of the stuff you got, The River, when I was in college, The River was like the album to have. I went down to the river. Oh, I loved it. And now I don't even want him on my Sirius. Click. What happened? What happened? You turned into an old crustacean. Just completely crazy. And now I don't want nothing to do with you. I took all my Springsteen tapes and shirts and everything. You make me sick. And I'm not alone. I'm not alone. It's funny how these people always wait until they make it to tell you how nuts they are. You didn't tell me back then. Hey, by the way, people conservative, I hate your guts. We would have known. Hey, De Niro, loved your movies. Loved The Godfather. I can basically quote the entire script. I loved Goodfellas. Now you hate my guts too. Break your heart. But just know, these people, it didn't work for Kamala. It didn't work for them. That's how I know this is futile. You got 8 months. There are 8 long months between now and November 2026. In case you haven't noticed, that's an eternity in politics. You don't even have any idea what President Trump is going to do tomorrow. I don't even know if Mark Levin and Megyn Kelly are going to get together and kiss and make up. I don't know if Candace Owens is going to figure out that her grift isn't working and she will change. It's an eternity. We don't know what's going to happen 8 months from now. We don't even know who's going to be here. By the time those ballots drop, what are these protesters going to be talking about 8 months from now? No kings? It's not working. The Iran situation will be stabilized because President Trump doesn't negotiate from a point of weakness. Gas prices, they're going to go down. How do I know it? Because we're drilling. And everything right now that you're seeing, just like I told you with Tesla, is temporary. It's not like the oil's not there. It's not like there's no more. There's plenty of it. People are acting emotionally and manipulating things. And we're drilling again. The economy, booming. Some people think it's not because they're not realizing what's going on. And it's going to continue to boom because more Americans are working. They're not out there protesting. And every time one of these no king things happens and blocks a freeway or smashes a window or burns a building or screams or spits at a cop, some swing voter in Wisconsin is going to look at his TV or her TV and think, you know what? I don't want anything to do with these people. I don't want them in government. I don't want them in my stores. I don't want them in my schools. I don't want them on my teams. And the backlash is already baked in because you are the backlash. The silent majority, us boomers, veterans, working families who built this country, not some president telling us like Obama, you didn't build that. Oh yeah, I built it. Yeah, I had some help, but I built it. I built this show. I got some help, but it was my idea and how I decided to do it. And Roaring Rage and Severo and SV and Ashley and Robin have all helped. They're watching, everybody right now, including yourselves, are watching a circus and going like this and shaking your head. You're like, this is insane. You look the other way. Tomorrow's Sunday. Many of you will be in church. You don't care about this. We are the ones who are going to have to show up at the polls, not the ones who show up with signs and trust fund rage because of like the guy from LinkedIn and all these other people are just pushing money. It's all paid for. You can't pay for reality. Got to put that on a shirt. You can't pay for reality. People feel and will do what they think is in their best interest.
Working class revolution! Working class revolution! Solution! There is only one solution! Communist revolution! Communist revolution! There is only one solution! There is only one solution! Communist revolution! Yeah! Communism is gonna win, baby!
Communism is going to win, said that moron who didn't have anywhere to go today because he didn't have a job. That's what they want. These people don't understand real life. They'll never have kids. They don't even want kids. They don't even want to have women. They don't know what a woman is, so they can't even possibly want a woman. You've read the stories. Nightclubs are closing. People don't go out. They don't drink. Not for health reasons. They don't want to commingle. Remember this. You and I grew up, most of you, in a different time. And I'm going to say something right now that even you ladies are going to go, yeah. my little blush. Remember the music we grew up with. And that didn't matter whether it was glam rock from Poison or Def Leppard or Bon Jovi, or hard rock like the Scorpions, or punkish like Billy Idol, or disco like Donna Summer, or rap. Every single one of us, even some in country. Back then, what was music about? I'll give you a little Jeopardy music. Dun, 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 dun. Almost every song by almost every single artist was about either hooking up, what happened after they hooked up, or trying to hook up again. You can go back and think, all the songs we used to grow, about love, about seeking affection, and sometimes love without the, affection part, just, the overnight thing. Everything was about intimacy. And right now, some of you got going back in your head, Scorpions, Love at First Sting, and Kiss, Lick It Up. I mean, every band that you can probably sit back was like, yeah, we all wanted the chicks. I'm speaking from a guy's perspective. Hey, what was the conversation on Friday night? Okay, where are we going? Oh, let's go over here because they got some really cute girls over there. Okay, let's do this. You guys know. You remember. And the ladies, I can't speak for you, but we guys saw many of the ladies all duded up, looking good. Wanted to hear what we had to say. How about now? You turn on the radio and it's like, oh, my life sucks. My life sucks so bad. Somebody did something to me. I'm never gonna love again. Then why do these kids slit their wrists? Think about it. I don't know if you ever broke it down like that. Whatever song you had on your 8-track or your CDs back then had something to do with finding love, keeping love, or upset because love lost. These kids, Billie Eilish, I don't even know what they listen to. I don't hear anybody talking about the hookup. I gotta look in chat. People are like, 38 special. Friday night, Freebird. You guys know. They don't. Disco, the entire thing was about having fun. I forgot that category. You either trying to hook up, lost your hookup, or you just want to have fun. Remember Cyndi Lauper? What was her song? Girls just want to have fun. What are they singing about now? Communism? Things have turned. And you guys know what it's like to actually live a life. These kids don't understand. Communist is going to win. Win what? Maybe this kid has never seen a history book. What has communism ever won? I would love, excuse me, you're going to win. Anybody else on the planet winning with communism? I mean, can you point out a map to where communism is winning? And then they want to fight because you give them nowhere to go. When I say we're winning,
we're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
I find that interesting in that piece because those of you who have been to a Trump rally, is there anger at a Trump rally? No. We all had fun. Like we talked about him saying the same things over and over again, but that's a whole different story. But we had fun. And I'm realizing right now that there's a generation of kids and younger people who haven't had fun as a part of their repertoire. It's been taken from them. Methodically and with great intent. A group of people who have not and don't feel fun a group of people who have no affection or desire to be affected. They don't want the women don't want the men, the girly boys. I mean, it's just shrinking. And yet they're going to win an election in November. So go ahead, let them post their selfies on TikTok. But marching doesn't vote. Voting votes. And the people who vote in the midterms, the serious people, the people with skin in the game, and you got skin in the game, are the ones who remember that Donald Trump was the president who gave them the strongest economy in half a century before, the jab-a-demic hit. And he's doing it again right now. These protests are obviously meant to energize the left's base, but they don't give them anything. When you go to a Trump rally and you hear him talk, he's like, we're going to win. We're going to do this. I'm going to give you better this. I'm going to do this. Notice what you've heard in the last hour or so. You haven't heard anything from any person telling you what's going to improve your life. That is the punctuation. That is the exclamation point. They're there to rile them up, but don't tell them what you're going to do. Trump's bad. Trump's Gestapo. Trump's this. Okay, I'm here. Tell me. Sell me what you got. We got to get rid of Trump. Okay, then what are you going to do? The same base that lost in 2024 because they were too busy being woke to notice that real Americans are tired of it. You could not have, when you were younger, walked into a nightclub and saw a pretty girl or handsome guy and walked up to him and said, you know what, man? Honey, life sucks out there. Oh, it's so bad to get stopped. Yeah, okay, I gotta go. No. You want to have some sort of rapport, telling somebody what you're going to do for them. One of the biggest dating tips ever is don't talk about yourself. What are you going to do for that person? President Trump says, we are going to make America great again. We are going to make America safe again. We is always in that closing group of things. We are going to make America wealthy again. Democrats, we got to fight the Gestapo. By energizing your base, you have to be able to flip districts in what they call flyover country. It just makes the rest of the people who aren't in flyover country realize this is what we need to tell people. We need to tell people that they have nothing to offer you. This is the absurdity and futility all wrapped up in one big $1 billion Soros paid for, taxpayer subsidized, because you're paying for it, parade of nothingness. The left thinks they can shame us, intimidate us, guilt us into handing over power. They think if they tell and yell loud enough, no kings, no kings, we'll forget that we are the kings. We are the master of our own domain. We are sovereign citizens who elected President Trump to drain the swamp. We are kings of our household. Robin's the queen, but sometimes she acts like the king. So when they say no kings, I'm going to say BS. We all know we have one big king, but all in our own little compounds, we have kings and queens. They don't have that. That's the problem. They don't have anybody, including the Lord, looking over them. There's no secret here. If you're a communist, there is no religion. If there's no religion, then there's no true king. Don't for a second mistake what they are subvertedly doing. If they can keep telling millions of people there's no king, these people can't go to church and understand there's one true king. That's one of the underlying messages that they're doing with all of this. If I can tear down religion, I can show them what communism is, and I can tell them that there's no king. That should be what's making your skin crawl. Not the fact of these singing and the craziness and Springsteen, is the fact that they want there to be no kings. None. That should make you chill and go, wait a second. Is that part of what they're saying? Yeah. We proclaim Jesus to be the king and God. Tomorrow, there would be people across the country in churches praising the one true king. There's no kings. We elected Trump to drain the swamps, secure the border, and make America great again. Well, I got a message for every single one of you watching this right now. Every boomer, every conservative, every veteran, every MAGA patriot who's had it up to here with this BS. And it's going to be a tough thing for you to do because I saw some people, even on my post, do it. Don't engage with their absurdity. Ignore them. Don't give them any air. Don't let the futility of their protest drag you down. That's what they're hoping for. Instead, get ready because they're going to keep coming.
As all of you know, we are living in an unprecedented and dangerous moment in American history. In many ways, the future of our country, and in fact the entire world, is hanging in the balance. And the action...
Look at those lost people. There's a black face finally. Emptiness. People taking advantage of that emptiness. These poor kids. I mean, seriously. Looking like they have no future. Because they don't.
That we take now will determine what the future looks like. The choices that we face are clear. In the wealthiest country in the history of the world, at a time of massive breakthroughs in technology, we now have the opportunity to create a nation in which all people can enjoy a dignified standard of living, where we wipe out bigotry and hatred, and where all of us can live in peace and participate in a vibrant democracy.
You see, when you're selling people a dream, when you're selling them a hope that you're going to get to be able to take their money, that's what they're selling these kids, because there's nothing else they have hope in. Nothing. Not each other, not the country, not even their leaders. They're just hoping that Bernie and some of these other nuts can get them some money. So you got to get ready. You got to register your neighbors. You got to volunteer for your local Republican candidates or MAGA candidates. You got to turn frustration into action, because in November, the only thing that's going to matter is not how many people marched in the streets today. All that's going to matter is how many people march in November to the polls. That's when you have to march in the streets. The left is playing checkers. Let's just admit it. They got no game. You've heard that many times in the bars probably. You got no game. Your boys probably told you. We're playing chess. They're out there today pretending they're saving democracy by undermining the results of the last election. We have to save the republic by showing up in 2026. Not getting frustrated, not turning our backs, not posting on X. I'm never voting Republican or MAGA again. What's your choice? You have to remind people who this country really belongs to. No king? Yeah, we do have a king. Damn right we have a king. But we don't want crybabies. We definitely don't want commies. And we don't want to surrender the way some people on X are surrendering. We the people, not protesters, not the media, not the globalist elites, no matter how much money they're putting out there, we are the ones who decide what happens in November.
And I will add a special thank you and a special acknowledgement that we will never leave the side of our Somali Minnesotans. Here's our pledge to you. Our Somali Minnesotans, your great-grandchildren will still be here when that orange clown is in the dustbin of history. You will be here.
Look closely. Stare at your screen. Do you see even one Somalian in this audience? Here, let me go full screen so you can see. Look through that entire audience and look if you see a shade of black or brown anywhere. Anywhere in that picture. This man just got up on stage talking about some sort of autocrat, some sort of dictator. He called the man orange whatever, which I don't think you could say to a dictator or without getting your head lopped off. And he's talking about just embracing all the Somalians. Oh, you Somalians, you're going to be here forever. We love you, Somalia. But meanwhile, there ain't a single one. None. I've looked at this probably 10 times. I blew it up. None. What is wrong with these people? How do you hate yourself so much? Or is it just something they've padded your bank account to the point where you got to keep loving on these crooks? Remember, these people did not know how to file paperwork to open autism centers and driving centers and everything else. Somebody in the government had to show them how to fill this paperwork out. And then when they shipped all the gazillions, we don't know where that money went. But yet these idiots in the audience who know full well they've been ripped off by my great Somalis. Probably because it ain't their money. You know, when the other guy was talking about strumming a guitar and talking about, taxes, well, I'm looking at these people and you're cheering for the Somali crooks.
From these 500 groups with, get this, a $3 billion budget.
$3 billion budget. Oh, communist wins. No, it's not. You are nothing more than a pawn. Communism isn't winning, not when it's taken billions of dollars to get there what you're doing.
Collectively. And where does their political influence, their political contributions, and their, individual employee donations go, but mostly to the Democratic Party. And that's why we see this silence. And unfortunately, they pull their punches on the issues that matter to you, for example, that you just cited, because that would mean turning against the Democratic politicians that they're trying to keep in power.
$3 billion of dirty money, dark money, is funding this idiocy. Yet they're telling us we're going to lose. Meaning the only way you can even have people show up is some capitalist somewhere is pulling strings and paying big money. That don't sound like winning to me. That sounds like theater. Complete theater. So that's my feeling on today's No Kings. I didn't want to do a show on it, but I just wanted to let everybody know, chill, we got this. Do a lot of thinking and realize you're watching a movie, and this movie is just playing out in front of you, and then it's going to go away, and these people are going to wake up tomorrow and realize President Trump is still their president. And he's still your president, he's still my president. So that's it. All right, I'm going to take 90 seconds and I got some more stuff for you.
to Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
So I want to change gears real quick. Today's Saturday, so Thursday or a show. I mean, things have been so busy. I think it was Wednesday or Thursday. I was going to show you guys an interview. I started to show you the interview, and then like the first 5 minutes, President Trump came on. I'm like, so I missed the interview. So I want you to hear this because it's really important. It gives you some perspective on what happened in Australia with Iran. I spoke to a journalist, Tracy Holmes. I think you're going to like this interview. Let's watch it from the beginning.
Iranian security agents and team officials have just realised 5 of their players are gone.
They were trying to escape through the car park downstairs.
They run down the fire escape hoping to intercept them.
Because the elevator down to the garage takes too long, so the staircase is a better option.
Player supporters Tina and Lee give chase, running interference.
You're in Australia, you better run.
And hurling insults.
Out of our country, IRGC.
What I saw, the coach, the translator, and a few other members of their security desperately trying to get to the car park themselves. They were even banging on the door.
He goes down to try to get down into the garage, and the door is locked. So whether that was locked intentionally, it's a fire escape. The door should be open.
After hitting a dead end, the group runs back up, Lee and Tina on their tails.
Looks like a couple of players were trying to get out and they found out about it.
Upstairs in the lobby, the reality of the situation sets in.
And that's when you could see the distress. He looked like a man who had failed his job.
Very distraught. And, I think they were even yelling at one point.
They came in and out of the hotel, back into the lobby. There was chaos with them trying to figure out what to do.
It was during this chaotic time that the girls were able to leave the hotel.
I can bring you a further update on the Iran women. As we know, there's been incredible news overnight. Last night, 5 women left the team hotel. They were escorted by AFP officials and they have been given humanitarian visas in Australia. The Home Affairs Minister, Tony Burke, has just given an update to the media. One thing that seems apparent, and it doesn't seem that he or many people are aware of, is that there are 3 other team members who are not at the team hotel. Their whereabouts are unknown. Now, the update that I have, Mehdi Taj, who is the president of the Iranian Football Federation, a former commander of the IRGC, the Islamic Revolutionary Guards, who are banned as a terrorist organisation in Australia, he tried to come here to make sure every member of that team got back to Iran. He was not given a visa by the Australian government. So coming in his place to do that job was his deputy, Farideh Shojai. Now, she's the vice president of women's football in Iran. She has arrived here. She's done an interview with the Iranian Press Association and has told them that the pressure has been applied to their families to guarantee that all remaining players and officials with the team return home. Later on, there was a spokesperson for the team who gave an interview to the same agency, and he said that the pressure is not going to be released until their family members return. So there's a lot of pressure being applied to those remaining team members. But remember, there are 3 that are still missing, so 8 in total. 5 who've been given humanitarian visas here in Australia, and another 3 whose location we are still unsure of. Now, I want to give a shout out here to Raha Porbaksh, who works for Iran International TV in London. She has been incredible. She's been in touch with a number of the women, including some of those that are still missing, whose whereabouts is unknown by people here in Australia. Now, at home, the escape is being described as the enemy causing marginal issues, and there is a reference there to Trump. And, you know, the the propaganda continues around this story. Now, at about 5:30 Sydney time this morning, that's Tuesday, the team spokesman repeated the same lines again about the pressure being sustained against the families of those members that are still here and are now able to make a decision whether they want to stay or not, because the Australian government will give humanitarian visas to any of those team members who want them. I should mention there's also pressure here. This is, again, care of Raha Porbach, pressure here on the coach Mazia Jafari, because 3 of those team members who have got humanitarian visas have come from her team that she coaches, the league team she coaches in Iran. One of the others was a former member until this year. So 4 of them under her watch, and a lot of pressure surely will be on her shoulders. I'll keep you updated. Please follow the Sports Ambassador on Substack to stay across everything that's happening, because it's moving fast.
So you guys may have not heard about this story, or you may have forgotten about it, but it was a big story. And the woman that you saw talking, Tracy Holmes from the Sports Ambassador, she's right here with an interview, is going to give us the update. That was like the initial story. This thing has continued to morph into something bigger. I'm not going to tell you what's going on. I'll let Tracy tell you herself. Tracy, how are you tonight?
I'm very good, Barry. Thanks for having me.
So that was one of the first videos that you had posted, and I understand from looking at some of the stuff on your page, a lot more has happened since then. What is actually going on? What's the state of the situation where these women are?
Well, it feels like there was so much that has happened between then and now, like many, many different chapters in this story. What we have at the moment is that only 2 remained in Australia. So there are currently 2 Iranian women's footballers who stayed in Brisbane, in Queensland, and they're currently training with one of the local domestic teams here. 5 others went home. They succumbed to pressure, we believe, to go back to Iran. But the interesting part of this story is that the saga first began because the women, after the war started, they played their first game about 48 hours later. And during that first game, they refused to sing the national anthem. So at home in Iran, they were labelled as traitors. Now, the women's football team in Iran gets almost zero coverage. Nobody could even identify most of their faces. So it was really unusual to see that suddenly they were on the screens, front and centre in Iran, being described as wartime traitors for not singing the national anthem. So right then, pressure started to be applied from home. The next time they played, they did sing the national anthem. They also saluted the flag. So it was seen as a complete about-face. People knew pressure was being applied. Originally, there were 5 members that sought asylum in Australia. They were taken to a safe house. 2 others, including an official of the team who was described here as a logistics expert of the team, she came with another young player and said they would like asylum. They came into the group, and suddenly half of the group, more than half of the group, said, we don't want to stay here, we want to go back. So we believe that's where the pressure was applied. Since they've gone home, they've been celebrated on national television as absolute heroes for choosing their homeland either over Australia or America, because we know that US President Donald Trump had some sort of a conversation with our own Prime Minister about the future of these women. So they're being used as political pawns, and the story's not finished yet. We need to follow what happens with these women back there. But can I just say thank you to you and anybody else who has covered this story, because it's only because of the attention on them that these women have not gone home and been punished as traitors, but it's flipped and they're being turned into national heroes. It's a complicated story.
Did anybody give you any idea, including possibly the women that stayed, what exactly kind of pressure were they talking about? Were their lives in danger? Were their families' lives in danger? What is the pressure they would exact on these women?
It appears that it was pressure applied via the families at home. So in other words, videos played to these women while they were in the safe house saying, this is your mother, father, brother, sister, whoever it may have been,
right,
and you better go home. Otherwise, this pressure is going to be maintained for them. Now, this is standard practice, we believe. We've heard this from other athletes, other men and women who no longer live in Iran but have experienced this. And not only that, but, you know, there are more than 200 athletes that were murdered by the Islamic Revolutionary Guards during the protests earlier this year. And there's another 80 plus that remain in prison at the moment, and we don't know what state they're in.
Wow. Are the women who stayed under protection, are they in danger right now? I mean, I can imagine that they've seen some of their teammates go back, but yet they're still here. What kind of lives can they expect in the very near future?
Look, I think it's going to be very difficult, as you can imagine. If you give up your country and you decide to stay in another country that speaks another language, that's got a very different culture, it was their decision, but that doesn't make it easy. So, you know, there's this removal. It's very difficult. There's only 2 of them, but there's a strong Iranian expat community here in Australia, and they have kind of wrapped their arms around them. They are under limited protection, so they have the freedom to go and train with the football club closest to where they are being housed. They'll be given assistance. They'll be able to do language programs if they need to. So there's all of that that's kind of wrapped around them, but that's not to say it's not going to be incredibly difficult as they think about, you know, all of their teammates and their friendships that they have known are now all back there and they're removed from that.
Why do you think the United States press, both the normal mainstream press and the sports press, kind of just looked the other way on this? Why did they ignore it for the most part?
Oh, look, I think there were, you know, so many other elements that were taking place because the war had started and everything was kind of thrown up in the air. And also this was a regional tournament that was being staged in Australia, which is why they were here. It was an Asian Football Confederation. So it's probably not that sort of global picture. If it was a World Cup, it would be something different. But because it was sort of limited to Asia, the story may have got lost. But I do know that many of the big organisations, you know, around the world, some of the big media organisations did do some coverage at least, and this has helped guarantee, for the time being, the safety of the women who've gone home.
Now, how do we know that they're now safe at home? Is there any communication period between the players that went home and the players that are here, or with anybody, you know, whether it be in Australia or the United States? How do we know what's going on with the other women that went back?
I actually know 2 people that live outside of Iran, not in the US and not in Australia. They live elsewhere and they have been in touch with them. But also we're seeing a lot of stuff coming out of Iran media. So this is state-affiliated media, propaganda media, if you like, and they're doing lots of interviews with the women. They're filming them. They've given them, you know, floral garlands when they got home. They had a massive celebration, which would never happen otherwise. But also interviews that are being done where these women are saying things like they were pressured by the Australian government to stay here and give up their homeland. We know that Australia doesn't need to pressure people that want to live here. You know, people come of their own free will. So there's a lot of that that's happening at the moment.
And we saw, I mean, if people haven't, the video is out there where they're running down the stairwell and they're being chased. And so you have to wonder, this wasn't spontaneous. It had to have some sort of planning associated with it. Has there been anything discovered by you in your reporting as to how it came about?
No, but look, I do have a sense that some of them may have considered asking for asylum before they even came here. So I did a podcast about a week or 2 weeks maybe before the team was due to arrive, because we still didn't have confirmation that they were actually going to be let out of Iran to come and compete. So the Iranian women are not able very often to leave their country to compete in international tournaments. So it was only about 2 or 3 days before they arrived that we heard they did have their visas. The Australian government issued visas quite early on, but the officials in Iran had decided, yes, they can come and compete in the tournament. So it was a very quick turnaround between them actually finding out, arriving here. 48 hours later, the war begins. 48 hours after that, they play their first match. So it was a real hotbed of information, but there's always a possibility when teams like this travel to countries like yours and mine, where they might want to claim asylum, some of them, for various reasons.
So if you were to estimate, what is Iran going to do? I don't know if they've even been invited to the World Cup, but any other international matches, how are they going to prevent this from happening again? Just basically put these people under lock and key?
Yes, and that's a very, very good question. And it's a question that many people are asking, because Iran men's team has qualified for the FIFA World Cup, which is now really only weeks away in your country, in Mexico and Canada. We know that there's been some political jostling at the level of, the Ayatollah and President Trump. President Trump saying they're welcome. Then there being some debate about Iran saying, well, we couldn't possibly go because you invaded us. So all of this is being played out, on the sidelines of a much bigger political story. But the latest I heard was that Iran had asked for all of its matches to be moved to either Canada or Mexico. They've asked FIFA to do that. FIFA has so far rejected that. So it seems like they do still want to come. They do still want some sort of representation on an international stage, but just how that happens remains unknown.
Who is exacting the pressure now with so many of the Iranian leaders having been blown up, per se, from the original time when these women decided to attempt to defect to now? Who would they be under the auspices of? I mean, it just seems kind of weird that you guys got something else to worry about living instead of just worrying so much about these soccer players.
Yeah, that's exactly right. One of the men that I mentioned in that clip that you played at the beginning, his name is Mehdi Taj. He used to be one of the commanders of the Islamic Revolutionary Guards. And, they are the people, basically the unit that pushes out all of the security on behalf of the regime. So he was very senior in that position. When he retired from that position, he became president of the Iran Football Association, and he remains in that position. He's also a vice president of the Asian Football Confederation. So he has inroads into FIFA, the world governing body, because he's the president of football in his country. So he's kind of the link between the regime, international football officials, and the Iran team and the decisions that will be made. So those decisions will be made as a political decision, not a sports decision. But yeah, we still don't know how that's going to play out.
What can people watching do to possibly assist these young women and other people who maybe think, we don't want to openly encourage defection, but how can we show awareness and support if not just this country? I can imagine any other country where somebody might want to get away. I'm sure you've learned a lot about asylum since you had been covering this.
Yes, well, we have a history of this sort of thing happening. I used to work for the Sydney Organising Committee for the 2000 Olympic Games, and there were many people who defected after they came to compete at those Olympics, and we've had a regular pattern of that. And I know your country has experienced the same sort of thing. I think at the moment the best thing that people can do really is if they see something on social media that is highlighting athletes, wherever they're from, keep them highlighted. you know, like their posts or comment or wish them success. Anything that keeps them in the public eye, particularly in their own country, means there's a little bit less of an incentive for that country to punish them, because they'll just be numbers and statistics. If they're known, if they have a profile, if there's some sort of a global following, then there's some sort of support, and that gives them some sort of strength, and for the regime not to act inappropriately against such people because they know that others are watching. And sometimes it's a small thing to do, but it's a very important thing to do.
You know, it's very hard for people like who live in Australia and people live in America to think people want to get away from their country so bad they're willing to risk everything. So I commend those women for wanting a different life. I know it's really tough because you leave your family at home and put you in danger. It takes a whole lot of heart and strength to actually do that. So I commend them. So what are you going to be doing and following up in this story? Is it pretty much going to be, now we just see what happens with the women that are in Australia, or are you still looking to find out more information on the women who return to Iran?
Both. So I'm definitely going to follow how the women, make their way into the community in Brisbane and playing football, which is their one love that they've brought with them from their country to here. But I'm also definitely going to stay in touch with the people I know who are in touch with the women in Iran, and to try and make sure that, as I mentioned to you, that they are somehow protected just because of the international attention. So we don't want to let up on that. Yeah, we want to keep them kind of in our gaze so that they will be okay.
How are the women here assimilating to freedom? Because I would think the first thing they did is they ripped off the hijab or whatever they were forced to play with. Are they letting their hair fly when they're running around, or are they still wearing it?
No, all of the above that you just mentioned. They went and trained with, the team is called Brisbane Raw, and they were invited in to train with the women's team, and they were there for the first time in just shorts and a short sleeve shirt and their hair flowing and kicking freely and smiling. So it was a nice start.
Well, I'd like to thank you, first of all, because I saw so much of what you were reporting on X, and I'm like, we got to talk to her, because I bet you were, a lot of people won't know, but you're instrumental, and at least you got 2 women saved. You know, it could have been 18, but the other ones went home, but two women found freedom, and I think you had a great deal to do with that, so I salute you for that one.
Barry, thank you so much. Lovely chatting to you.
And before you go, tell everybody how they can find you, the Sports Ambassador. It's a Substack, because even though you're in Australia, you're on X. You can see the handle right there. Where else can people follow up the story with you?
Yeah, they can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, X, Substack. Look for my name, so it's Tracy Lee Holmes, or search the Sports Ambassador, and you'll be able to find it.
Well, thank you, and thank you for the time difference. She's in case you guys don't know, Tracy is in Australia right now, and I'm in. What time is it right now where you are?
It's not too bad. It's just gone 9 a.m.
Oh, great. I'm glad we didn't have to hit you up in the middle of the night. We got that worked out. Thank you very, very much for your time today.
Thanks, Barry.
All right. I wanted you guys to see that because, sort of like a human interest type thing with these young ladies that were on the soccer team and what they must be having to go through. But at the same time, I got something I want to show you, because as much as this is a no kings rally only for, Donald Trump, you might want to check out what the idiots were doing in front of the Capitol.
All right, you guys are awake out there. That's good. That's good. I want to start by thanking Jessica and the Removal Coalition for bringing all of us together and continuing to push this fight forward. I want to thank all of you for showing up, standing up, and refusing to sit this moment out. So go ahead and clap it up for all of you right now.
These people are flipping nuts. I mean, just basket cases. They're celebrating no kings while talking about a regime, a country that runs an authoritarian dictatorial government where women can't be free, where people get thrown off buildings if they happen to like the other team, per se, but yet they're clapping for Iran.
My name is Jasmine Johnson, and I am the Executive Director and co-founder of Fight Against Fascism organization, better known as FAFO. Because if you
Fight against fascism while holding up the Iranian flag. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. These people. Now listen to this one.
It seems like there's a lack of diversity here today. That it's mostly people who look like you and I. And I just
This is not. It is not for black people, for people of color to get out on the street. They're at risk when they do that. If anybody's going to get arrested here, it's going to be a black person.
How can you take these people seriously? I mean, seriously. How do you take these nuts seriously?
It is not safe for them, and they don't need to participate. We need to walk in their name.
Gotcha. Okay.
Gotcha. You're a bat crazy loon. Black people aren't. We don't want you to come out, because if you come out, you'll get arrested. You know, because that's how bad it is. You can't walk the street.
Wow. Okay. What do you think about voter ID? Do you think it's racist?
It's 100% a tactic to control the population and prevent people from voting, so that the only votes so that the gerrymandering can work, so that white voters can vote in white Christian.
She's trying to remember the script. Hold on. She's trying to get the script right. You know, it's only white Christians.
Males.
Have you been voting blue most of your life?
I voted blue in the womb.
Ah, wonderful.
Yeah.
If you had to vote for a Republican, J.D. Vance or Rubio, which one would you pick if you had to?
Yeah. I would slit my throat.
I rest my case. In case you didn't notice also, at this point, the nuts have decided, well, you know, it's enough being these peaceful protests. Let's just go ahead and see what they're doing in California. Shall we check in? And here's what's going on in California. We went from no kings to let's go ahead and invade the ICE facility. Let's go ahead and put on a little hat there, our helmets and everything else, and just head over to your local ICE facility and try to kick in the fence. Because I guess that must be where they hide the kings. Maybe that's where the kings are. Or perhaps maybe the kings are here. Anti-ICE rioters threw chunks of concrete protecting a federal building in Los Angeles. Federal agents responded with tear gas to disperse the crowd. And here are the nuts. Here are the nuts. No kings, huh? That's Democrat Party. There you go. There's the Democrat Party. Throwing cinder blocks. Trying to go after ICE. Hey, let me throw. That's gonna hurt, lady. Yeah, just throwing one piece of a brick. And tear gas is coming. And you got your, your sweater, I mean, those scarves on, so you know who they are. Oh, there's an Iranian flag, and there's a yeah. Screw these people, man. I mean, absolutely screw these people. It was never about no kings. It's just a way for them to go out there and protest. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Hits just keep coming. Unbelievable. And, that's the stuff the media doesn't want to show people, because it completely ruins everything that they did earlier in the day with the old people. All right, so let me do super chats and tell you what's going on tomorrow. All right, well, what do we got here? This button, let me just move this over. And this is from Overview. I haven't heard you before. It votes. James Hammond. This is why I don't listen to any of them. Go MAGA. Exactly. Hey, Neo. Barry, thank you for always keeping it true and real. So happy I'm MAGA, and we have a great president. America's future is golden. God bless us all indeed. Pekovsky, thank you. Kathleen Gray. No people here in Los Angeles area or on TV. Yeah, now they're there now. They're trying to break stuff. Tania, Barry, we're all still trying to figure out what lagoon that creature in the thumbnail is from. By the way, we all lost our lunch. Oh, you talking about or do I still have her picture? Its picture? I don't know what it is. You mean this person? Let me give you the full screen effect here. Yeah, there you go. I have no idea. I can't make it out. We should have some sort of poll where people can guess what in the hell you're looking at there. I can't tell you. Buddy, Somali flag at Bernie's rally. Exactly. Overview again. They fighting to keep the fraud machine well-oiled to continue siphoning tax dollars perpetually, and Maga is in the way. Chiosop, they are stupid. I bet the Somalis told them to give them their share of the money and they would hold it in safekeeping in Somalia, and now they're stuck. And John, how you doing? Libtards are happy when angry. Yep, they just want to break stuff up. It's absolutely insane. So I think what we need to do is we need to get posters made of that and use it for Halloween, because I'm afraid to know what those tattoos are. And I don't know what's on its fingers. As I'm looking at this, I don't know if those are tattoos on the fingers, some sort of weird nails, but I really, really like the football helmet welded to the face. Yeah, we're going to lose to these people? Somebody says Jabba the Hutt. I don't even know, either too much booze in college or pills. Those tattoos look pretty nasty. What's it say? On old people, but people don't think about that before they go in and ink up. That's disturbing. She's wearing she's wearing a tire. Is that what that is? Hold on. Is that a tire? Did she really put a tire? Oh my gosh. That's what we're up against. That's what we're up against. I can't. Well, I just let you guys know, Ashley and the grandkids will be here tomorrow. We are super, super pumped. The schedule over the next 3 or 4 days is going to be pretty weird with them being here. I mean, I'll do a show tomorrow because they don't get in till probably later, so I can do a show and then enjoy the company. But the rest of the week, I'm not really sure, so I'll try to get something in if they're busy at the beach or something. It might be weird production because I might just be doing it. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But anyway, at least I will be able to do a show tomorrow. Thank you guys for tuning in on your Saturday evening with all this craziness. I will talk to you tomorrow sometime.